always,
so, oh,
you
that's
can
always
always
been
send
a,
something in, or live stream something.
oh, that's what it is, okay. I was thinking that.
But I always do a map, and then we let a site plan that you just.
How are you?
Yeah.
You have a PowerPoint if you want to.
Hey, I like the sound of how you do it.
I don't know
Yeah.
that I like the sound of this. I've had 8 minutes to prepare. And the camera here still works. If you need to project.
Oh, just show it there, I've never even used
Yeah,
that.
Philip would have to show it, make sure it's set up, but I
Talk
think
this
it'll,
way.
as far as I know, it still works.
I'll just,
Although, with that machine down
You gotta get that gavel. You gotta get that gavel.
okay.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our October the 28th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I got a couple of statements that I would like to make at the very beginning. One is our audio has apparently had a little bit of a problem earlier on, so we've got a microphone up here so that we can hopefully get our live stream taken care of. So if anybody has a problem hearing us, I will do the best that I can to speak up to be able to get that taken care of. And we also have a few members that are absent from our meeting today, but we do have a quorum, so we will proceed as planned. So I'll say, Mr. Phillips, do we need to take an official action for the chair position?
Yes. Since the chair and the vice chair are both absent today, you'll need a motion to appoint a temporary chair, a second followed by a vote.
I make, so, good to go? This one is loud and working. Make a motion for Mr. Jacob Wicks to act as temporary chair.
Second.
So I have a motion, and then I have a second. All in favor? Passes unanimous. So the caveat to that is the fact that this is going to be my first time as a chair, and I will say that I will do the best that I can. If I miss something, I have a wonderful staff here through Mr. Robinson and Mr. Phillips and the rest of our committee members here to get me back on track. So first and foremost, I would ask everybody that's in the audience, if you have an audible device, if you don't mind, please turn that off and make sure that it is on silent so that we do not have any interruptions to the proceedings. We have been given our minutes from our September the 23rd meeting, and I would like to ask, has everybody had an opportunity to review those meeting minutes? And does anybody have any discussion or any comment? So with that, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of September the 23rd, 2025?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ellis. All in favor? Motion passes. So a couple of other things for this is, as the Planning and Zoning Commission, we are a recommendatory body to the planning and, or to our post commissioners and for any application that is for the city of Hiram. So kind of the way the proceedings are is as the applications, as we present them, there will be an opportunity for the presenter or the, to come up, voice their opinion, voice the information based upon the application, go over everything. We'll have an opportunity to review, and then there will be an opportunity for opposition or questioning to these applications at that time, at the end of that, at the end of the process. So as we get ready, we will read the first application that we have. Is that something, Mr. Robinson, you would like me to read, or is that you'll take care of that?
Actually, I'd be glad to read it. I did have two announcements.
Okay.
Application 25, 2025-21Z. It's an application by A.A. Rodriguez Corp. That application has been forwarded by staff for additional information and discussion. And also application 2025-19Z. It's Artisan Built Communities. The applicant has actually officially requested that their application be forwarded, and we received that written request, and that application is forwarded at the next available meeting.
Thank you, sir. All right, unless I have missed something, Mr. Robinson, would you like to present the first application up for review?
Mr. Chair, if I may just add one component, just a
Yes, sir.
reminder that each side will have a total of 15 minutes to present their case.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, first application is 2025-17Z, application by AP Capital Partners LLC, doing business as Hiram Industrial Drive LLC, requesting to rezone 10.67 acres from R2 Suburban Residential District to I1 Light Industrial District for the proposed development of office and warehouse buildings. Property is located in land lot 740, District 19, Section 2. East of Hiram Industrial Drive, just south of Rosedale Drive, and it's west of Bill Creek Parkway. It's in Commission Post 3. Staff has recommended approval with one stipulation, and we have received some calls with questions. And after this, please.
So the first application, 2025-17Z, the applicant would like to come up and make sure that you record your name on the ledger and then introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Planning Commissioners, good afternoon. Good to be here with you this afternoon, representing the applicant AP Capital and Hiram Industrial in this application for rezoning. I have a handout for you if I can approach and hand those to you to start. construction and development side, even as close as in this industrial park that we're talking about today. So they're looking forward to the opportunity to do the same here on this property. If you'll turn, excuse me, to the second page in the application, I've started just to kind of orient where the property is located. This is a 10-acre tract, undeveloped. You can see Rosedale Drive north of us on the other side of the railroad there, and then running north and south, Bill Caruth intersecting with Rosedale. You know, we're west of that at the cul-de-sac that is Hiram Industrial Drive off of Metromont. So I think probably names that you recognize that get you close to where this property is located. If you'll turn to the next page, that is getting closer in to look at the 10 acres to see its undeveloped character, to see the properties that are adjoining ours. I think you have these details in your staff report, but just to kind of work around the properties that surround us, those that you see that are developed are heavy industrial or your I-2 zoning district, and then the others that look undeveloped surrounding us are residential. So our access is proposed to be to the Hiram Industrial Drive cul-de-sac there, which is west of this property. And the request in our case is not for the heavy industrial district like the others on Metromont and Hiram Industrial, but instead to light industrial. The applicant believes that there's a good market for those permitted uses within light industrial, and even potentially, without a special land use permit, but also sees it as a good transition from the heavy industrial of Hiram Industrial, Metromont, and transitioning away from that, those two roads back towards Bill Caruth. So with that in mind, what you see on Hiram Industrial and Metromont primarily is going to be industrial buildings like what's being proposed, special contractor uses, mostly uses within those buildings with outdoor storage, but a well-developed, well-maintained industrial development, industrial park that this will become a part of and connected to. If you'll turn to the next page, we have our updated site plan. This site plan has been revised once, which for us is, I feel good when I'm coming into you and have only revised a plan one time, but we did revise the plan in the process. That has been submitted back to staff. I think what's on the screen may be the originally submitted site plan, and I'll tell you the couple differences between original submission and today and what you see in the handout. Starting at the cul-de-sac on the left-hand side, west of the property, and that red hash is the access drive and what's proposed to be the access easement. So under your ordinance, this property is allowed to be accessed if it has that access easement meeting or exceeding 30 feet. And so that's what's shown. That's what we showed initially. We knew all along that of course we'd have to have that access, but we originally anticipated that it would be on the property just north of where we're showing it now. So we flipped it south, and that is instead where the access will be, and that's shown on this current site plan and showing its location. To Chris's point earlier about the one condition about determining access during the plan review process, and I think probably what were any phone calls that you received about the project, questions about that access. This shows conceptually where it will be located. We understand that as we go through that plan review process, that will have to be more particularized to show proof of the easement and all of those conditions that your staff would expect to see, and we're prepared to be able to do that in the process. The rest of the site plan, you initially saw the proposed 27,500 square foot building and two 10,000 square foot proposed future additional buildings on the site plan, which is what's on your screen. The change to the internal area of the site plan that was made during this one revision was to show a building footprint expanding back from that initial 27.5 building, and then in keeping those two 10,000 square foot buildings. You've probably heard this, but the difficulty and kind of the fine line to walk of these folks to be able to develop and build something that will be accommodating to what that potential end user is going to want. We wanted to show the flexibility and show, instead of showing less and then building appropriate to show what the potential future building area could be. So that way we and staff, and you could consider, if there's more building area, do we still meet the requirements, impervious parking, all the things that we know we need to look at? So we went ahead and showed the potential future. So that way when they get to market, they can accommodate what that end user is going to need, but within, within what we've shown here. So that was the two things that changed. Otherwise, nothing too exciting about the site plan. I guess the areas that we do adjoin residential properties, you'll see the 50-foot buffer. That's your code required 50-foot buffer. That's being met. We're not asking to vary from that. So that's showing wrapping around those three areas of the site plan. And if you'll turn to the next page, this is not just to prove that we posted the public notice sign, but this is what the property looks like from the Hiram Industrial cul-de-sac, looking back towards our 10 acres. The property to the north is the one on the left in this picture, and the property to the south is the one to the right. That is where the access easement drive will be located. So we wanted you to see a perspective of where that will be. It also shows you kind of the character of what Hiram Industrial Drive and Metromont look like. And if you look at the last two pages, these are two other buildings within that development, which we're submitting to you to be representative of what the applicant would be building as far as the character of what these proposed buildings would look like. So, and that ends the packet there. That if your recommendation today is for approval of the application, we again recognize that the condition of the DOT and the access drive to be determined. And if you would like to, we would propose that these architectural pictures could be included as representation of what you'll see built here. That way you know the character and quality of it, and that it's consistent with the others in this industrial park. We're happy to answer any questions if you have any for us, and we appreciate your time and consideration.
All right, thank you. And just for the record, you alluded to it a couple of times in your presentation, but you have, of course, read and acknowledged the one attached stipulation for that access, the egress access and development would be approved through plan review process.
Yes, sir, we have, and yes, we agree with that.
All right, at this time, do we have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I've got a couple for you. On the access easement, so do your clients own either the two parcels that it's traveling through or it's acquiring the easement from?
They do not, no.
Do you have that easement already recorded? Is it put together?
It is not recorded, but there is an agreement in place with this owner for that to be done. It won't be finalized until the property is actually acquired. Our 10 acres is acquired and closed to finalize, record the things that will be done to perfect the easement, but it's in place in concept and knowing that's what's there for us for access.
And then the next question is gonna be for staff, Mr. Robinson. So the industrial park that this is, originally, was this parcel part of that original plan for that industrial park, or is it a new parcel that's trying to add to and access through that industrial park?
The latter, did you say this, it was not a part of the original layout for what's surrounding it to the north and to the east, and
Okay.
the west?
Which is
That
why
was
there's,
original layout, this is a parcel technically landlocked to the east of the, what's it, an existing industrial.
that was my next question, but is there legal access to this any other easements? Is this the only option that you have for access is through that cul-de-sac?
I think that it's, I don't know if I can say only, but I think it's the only practical option. Otherwise, going east to Bill Caruth, and I think the difficulty of what that crosses topographically wise, and I think there's stream, wetlands, and other issues there. This is practically the only access, yes, but there is no other access to the property unless it's through someone else's property by easement, correct?
And then for DOT Director, Mr. Jones, have you looked at this? I mean, is this acceptable? Accessing through an easement is, we see it sometimes in residential, but I don't know how often we see it in commercial and or industrial.
I would just say, I don't think there's anything that says you cannot do that. I believe they were utilizing the existing curb cut that was before that adjacent business shown in there. They did provide a traffic study showing how much traffic was gonna be going for this proposed development and the future.
And the, go back to your stipulation, obviously you'll look at it more in depth during plan review process.
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
The area
Yes, ma'am.
where these buildings are being constructed, are they paved?
In looking at the site plan, the entrance is paved and the front parking area is paved. The remaining area is not. Now, if the additional buildings that are being proposed, if those are constructed, there may be, drive directly to those and parking area in front of those, things like that, but otherwise it's left to be gravel.
But your proposed building and your access will be paved.
Yes, correct.
With
Yeah,
paved parking and handicap parking and everything that's required.
that's
And then-
correct.
And as you expand, that may vary, but your laydown yard or whatever's in the rear will remain either undisturbed or left in gravel.
Yes, correct. Thank you for clarifying that. I should have said that.
Are there any additional questions from the commission to the applicant? Okay, at this time,
Thank
is
you.
there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of the applicant? If there is, you can make your way to the podium. Seeing none, we will close that portion. So we have, for application 2025-17Z, we have a recommendation of approval from staff. Sorry. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition or have questions on the application? If you don't mind, come up to the podium and state your, if you don't mind, write your name down in the ledger and then just to the, yep, just to the right of it.
Yeah, my name is Phil Bradley. I own the property south of this proposed 10 acres. My concern is this is gonna be right in, literally in my backyard. And 50 feet doesn't seem like quite enough buffer between my residence and an industrial building. Is there any room for adjustment there? I mean, I wouldn't dare try to stop this from going in. That's not my intent here, but trying to maintain a residence for my grandkids to be out in the yard playing.
Sir, do you own the parcel that has the lake? Or
The parcel, I'm, at this point, it's 2 acres.
There's two right there.
right here?
There's two.
I can't see that. Here it is, here. I'm in the construction business and I can't read this drawing. I've done this for a living, but I think I'm just, the 2 acres just south of this, is 2 squares there.
Mr. Robinson, is the 50-foot
Yep,
buffer?
yep.
Is the 50-foot buffer undisturbed buffer?
It's an undisturbed buffer. From time to time, if they do in their construction process get into it, they have to put that on the plans that's submitted and have a replacement.
Okay, is this area already treed, or does it have a pretty substantial buffer? Have you looked at it? That's adjacent to his property? Or the other 4 parcels that it's on the south of it? I mean, it appears it is from But if there is none when they develop it, will they have to plant a buffer?
They would have to make sure that 50 feet is installed or part of what's already there.
Does that include planting something? I mean, to answer
That
your
could
question,
include planning,
that'll be looked at during the plan review process also.
that's correct.
So I wouldn't be able to stand on my back porch and have to look directly in the side of a building. Is that what we're hearing?
Well, what Mr. Robinson's saying is that if this were to receive a recommendation from this body and then go forward to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, and if they were to approve it, then the developer would have to submit it to the county again for review for site plan and earthwork. In that process, staff will look at both the access, as Mr. Jones said, and other things, stormwater, as also with buffers and what's required. So it may be more information about what the buffer would be that staff could explain to you, more so than I can at the moment, about what is required currently to be left undisturbed and what would be required to be planted back.
Okay.
If it's required,
Okay.
if that helps any.
Yeah,
clarify.
I prefer it just being like it is, but
Right, I understand.
can't stop progress.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition or have a question about the applicant?
Hi, I'm Barbara Grimes, and my property is right next door to Phil's. And I just wanted to reiterate what he said. As long as there's a buffer, I will say that buffer, the trees that are there now are somewhat new growth because a lot of that had been cleared at one point. So it's not like they're 50 or 60-year-old trees. They're fairly new. So like Phil said, I can't stop progress, but I just wanted to let you guys know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that would like to speak in opposition or have questions about the application?
We bring the applicant back.
So, we can bring the applicant back, if he would like to address the comments that were made in opposition.
Thank you. I was trying to decide whether to stand up and ask. We're happy to discuss with them. We have not met or spoken with them before, did not know of these concerns until today, but understand them. I don't know as far as increasing the buffer, what we can be able to do. We do meet the required 50 feet, and agree with what was said by Chris and you both, that what isn't already existing sufficient to meet their review in the process of what the buffer is now. It will be supplemented. But we're happy to talk with them between now and the board hearing in 2 weeks and see if there's anything specific we can do otherwise.
And if I understand it correctly, it's undisturbed buffer. Is that correct? So you guys can't, propose grading in it, or you're agreeing to stay out of it?
Yeah.
And leave what's there.
My understanding is if it's to be disturbed, I think Chris mentioned we would have to specifically identify that and that be allowed, and
And then plant it.
that way we're mitigating it by replanting or something specific, not just us getting in it and all of a sudden it's cleared.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Robinson, does that cover the previous, concerns that you had prior to the meeting?
Yes, sir. These two, which we're grateful that they came and asked questions and have concerns. And I think that covered that.
All right, if there is no additional opposition or questions, for the application or per the application or for the applicant, we have a staff recommendation of approval with a once listed stipulation, that the access to the development will be determined during the plan review process. So at this time, I would ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 2023 17-Z with the one stipulation.
All right, have a motion to approve with the one attached stipulation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Aston. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 3, 1, and 1. All right, Mr. Robinson, would you like to present or,
Mr. Chairman, before you start the next one, I have to recuse myself for this vote, so I'm gonna step in the audience.
So, Mr. Robinson, we do still have a quorum on the board, so if you would like to proceed in presentation of the next application.
Absolutely, thank you. 2025-20 Z, application by Keystone Communities LLC, requesting to rezone 13.609 acres from A1 agricultural district to R1 residential, rural residential district for the proposed development of 9 single-family homes. Property is located in land lot 68, District 1, Section 3, and land lot 274 and 275, District 2, Section 3. It's located on the east side of Austin Bridge Road and the south of Ridge Road. It's in Commission Post 3. Staff is recommended approval with one stipulation. And we've had no calls or concerns or opposition. Applicant is present.
All right, if the applicant would like to take a step forward.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be with y'all today. My name is Mark Taglieber. I am one of the 3 owners of Keystone Communities. Reside at 847 Highcrest Drive up in northeast Paulding. My 2 business partners and myself have all been 30-year plus residents of Paulding County. We started our business together back in 2014, and over the last 11 years we've built homes in Paulding, Carroll, Haralson, Polk, and Bartow counties. We also co-own Keystone Realty that we started in 2016 and have assisted dozens and dozens of homeowners buy and sell their home across Paulding and surrounding counties. Excited to be here and present this application to you. With me is also the owner of the property, Melise Stoyles, in the back row. She is a member of the Klontz family. Those that have been here a long time have heard the Klontz family name. Been around Paulding County, I guess, for about 100 years. This project is 13.6 acres. We are asking to rezone it to R1 for 9 home sites, 6 1-acre lots along the frontage and 3 2.5-acre lots across the back. The property is a beautiful property, and when we approached Ms. Stoyles about buying it, she was very particular about what we put on the property. She grew up across the street. She played on the property as a kid. We walked it together, talked about where the homes would go, talked about what type of homes they would go, and she was pleased at what we had proposed to do. The surrounding property, as you can see from your packet, is all zoned R2. Including the property across the street. We're asking for R1, which would be lower in density, of course, than the R2 that surrounds us. A couple years ago, when mortgage rates started to increase, we pivoted as a company to looking at first move up, second move up buyers. First time buyers right now struggling a little bit with the higher mortgage rates, but those people that are in their 40s or their 50s like myself, we've lived in a subdivision a while, we've gained some equity in our homes, we're ready to get out. get on a larger piece of land, get out of the neighborhood. And so for the last 2 or 3 years, we've built primarily all on bigger lots, 1 acre, 2 acre style lots. And in a lot of cases, we build ranch homes. And we've been doing a lot of detached garages with those ranch homes. So we build the ranch home with a side entry garage and a 2-car attached garage, and then we do a 2-car detached garage beside it. And what we found is that it's becoming incredibly popular with our customers. A lot of the customers we serve maybe have a sports car they're fixing up, or a set of jet skis, or a bass boat, and need places to put those things. Not to mention that as Americans, we just have a lot of stuff. So you need a place to put your stuff. So what we plan on this project is to build primarily ranch homes on a slab foundation, so there'll be stepless ranches. Average between 3 and 4 bedrooms, about 2,000 square foot. And where allowable, we're going to include those 2-car detached garages as well. We've done this out in West Paulding in a subdivision called Allgood Farm. Built some individual houses on McGarity Road, Woodrow K, places like that. And the reception has just been fabulous. Exteriors of the homes will be cement siding, stacked stone water tables, architectural shingles. Interiors, you know, a lot of upscale features that customers have become accustomed to. Granite countertops, tile backsplashes, stainless appliances, LVP flooring, tile showers in the primary suite, crown molding, tray ceilings, all those things that you would expect when you're buying a mid-400s house, which is what we expect the price point of these homes to be, about $450 on average. We always, for the 11 years we've been in business, most of the building we've done is on larger lots, half-acre, 1-acre lots. We always respect the properties that we build on. We try to minimize the amount of clearing we do. We only clear enough to get the house, the driveway, septic drain field if applicable, and we try to work it in with the natural topography of the land so that we can create an aesthetic that's pleasing as you're driving by. The one stipulation as it relates to the driveways, of course, we're glad to work with DOT to make sure that we locate each of the driveways on Austin Bridge Road in the safest possible manner. We'll work with them during staff review should this be approved. We appreciate staff recommendation for approval. We ask for your consideration on this, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions from the commission to the applicant?
Are these all slab on grade homes?
For the most part, there may be the topography in the back on the 2.5-acre lots is a little bit more rolling. So in order to minimize doing too much grading, we may do a couple basements back there, but most of them will be slab foundation homes.
What is that, you have to add a basement to it. How much does that add to the cost of building a home?
Typically, we charge $45,000 for a basement on a 2-story plan and about $50,000 if it's on a ranch plan.
Soil studies, do you perform soil studies out there?
Yes, sir. We had Kirk Hall, our soil scientist, and Matt Hutchinson, our septic installer, meet on site, do some test pits, you know, do some recon, and it all looks good. Back in the 90s, I developed the neighborhood behind it, and we had pretty good soils there as well.
So it's not any wet areas on the land at all?
No, sir. No creeks, no wetlands.
I do have a little bit of information to share from a school perspective. So as everyone knows, our community is growing. We're growing hand over foot in various different places. There's not as much growth and development in this location. So, and being the fact that these are 9 homes, the total student yield out of these 9 homes is anticipated to be 6 students spread across all grade levels. So the way that breaks down is that would be roughly 3 elementary school students, 1 middle, and 2 in the high school. So again, does not sound like much, and for a smaller community or a smaller development, that is not a tremendous amount. The stats that we have for the schools that are feeding this, that would be feeding this area, would be Dugan Elementary School, Alston Middle School, and South Paulding High School. And the current stats that we have for those is Dugan's currently sitting at 74% capacity, Alston is sitting at 89% capacity, and South Paulding High School is sitting at 102% capacity. South Paulding High School would be the second least capacitated high school that we have, Hiram being the first. All of the other high schools are in that 102 to 105 range, no matter where you're at. So again, as stated, there are 2 different things that we look at from a school's perspective. Won't go into too much detail on those, but you're looking at classroom capacity. Basically, do we have a seat available for a student? And then you have operational capacity. So operational capacity would be what we would look at all concerns, because of course you look at a percentage usage, and we are under 100% for 2 out of the 3 schools, and very close to that on the South Paulding High School campus. The operational capacity is basically the teachers, the custodians, the bus drivers, and things of that nature. As a school reaches a certain operation capacity, because again, the school's not staffed at 100%, the school is staffed at 74 for Dugan. So as those thresholds are met, additional staff is pulled in. Having said that, for a area like this, the development does have a minimal impact with bringing in the 6 students, but there is still an impact that would go along with that. Because as we stated before, any student added to our school system does have some type of impact in some way. Are there any additional questions for the applicant? Okay. At this time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition of the applicant, or have questions for the application or for the applicant?
Quick question.
If you don't mind, if you've got a question, you don't mind, come up to the lectern if you don't mind. And then there's a sign-in sheet to your right. If you don't mind, put your name down and then let us know.
I just wanted to clarify and make sure that, so they're doing individual driveways for each lot, and not one main road going into the or to the lots, as individual driveways?
Yeah, we can make sure that we formally confirm that with the applicant, but looking at the way that they did their layouts, you do have the 3 individual drives, or the areas for those drives that would go to the back 3 lots. So I would assume that that would be 6 independent drives on the front, with those 3 that would move to the back. But of course, we can definitely get a clarification from that from the applicant.
Okay, that was my only question.
Okay. Are there any additional questions, comments? If you would like to address.
Yes, sir. We do plan on individual driveways for each house.
And again, just to make sure that I address it, with that one stipulation that is attached to the recommendation from the staff, for the owner developer agrees access driveways to the development shall be determined during that plan review process. Each one of the plans would be given to the plan review, and through that process, the best determination of that driveway would be addressed through staff comments and basically based upon sites and things of that nature. If there is no additional opposition or questions for the applicant, at this time we have we have a recommendation of approval with the one listed stipulation of that access driveways to the development being determined during the plan review process. So at this time, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the one stipulation.
We have
Second,
a motion to approve, and we have a second.
yes.
Ms. Fitzgerald with a second. All in favor? Passes 3-0, 1 and 1 with a, is it, how would the? 3-0 and 1.
Mr. Steele disqualified.
Gotcha. Mr. Robinson, if you would like to move on to the next application on our agenda.
Mr. Chairman, the next two applications actually coincide with each other. And if it'd be okay with the board, I'll read both of them and consider, and if your vote would be set.
Yep, sounds good to us.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next application is 2025-22Z. This application by Jean Jolicoeur and Francine Dupree requesting to rezone 1.610 acres of R2 Residential Development District to B2 Highway Business District with accompanying special use permit for the proposed impound lot and dispatch hub for motor vehicle towing operations. The property is located in land lot 787, 798, 799. District 2, Section 3 is on the south side of Scoggins Road, which is also State Route 120 connector, and west of Paul Aiken Road. It's in Commission Post 2. At this moment, staff has recommended denial, but if the board chooses to approve, we recommend the re-stipulation that's printed. The associate application here is 2025-09 SUP, application by John Jolicoeur and Francis Dupree requesting a special use permit for a 1.610 acre property zone B2 Highway Business District for a proposed impound lot and dispatch hub for motor vehicle towing operations. Property again is located in land lot 787, 798, 799, District 2, Section 3, south side of Scoggins Road and west of Paul Aiken Road. It's in Commission Post 2, and that's also recommended denial. Applicant is present. We've had one correspondent of opposition that's in your packet.
If the applicant would please come forward. Make sure you record your name and
Hi, my name is Jean Jolicoeur. I'm the owner of the property in question and also the owner of the business that wants to set itself in there with American Record. That's been in the community here for close to 30 years, that we purchased 2 years ago. And what we need is, what we want to have is the actual maintenance, light maintenance, basically oil change and stuff like that on the building that's already established on the property, and have an area in the back there for storage of the impound lot that we do for Paulding County and for GSP. We're on a rotation for them. The average time that those vehicles are scheduled to stay there, normally it's 1 week per month for Paulding County, 1 week per 9 weeks for GSP. And those vehicles normally stays in about a week and a half. If the vehicle is abandoned, then it stays up to about 30 days and it gets destroyed, either destroyed depending on the value, go through the process of the court to get the title to, to get rid of the vehicle, basically. And right now what I did is also, I've got some files here. These are pictures. There's two packets per.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And what I did is I've took some pictures on there. Those are in monochrome that you guys have there, but I did it in color here so that you can actually see The property is much higher than the actual street that we have, and it's about 10 feet high, the elevation. And what I've done, on one of the pictures, you can see a pickup truck. That is, I'm at the same level right now, but as soon as I back towards the front where the cypress is, I'm still on the top there. You, basically, the vehicle disappear, and that's not the lowest point. So the property actually goes down by about 20 feet in the back, and that's where the impound lot would be. So that it's not being, how can I say? We don't want it to be seen or to be a sore eye for the neighbors. The other thing too is we're planning on putting a lighting system and cameras. And all these gonna be either it's gonna be a motion sensor and downward profile so it doesn't light up everything. And I know that some of the requirement also is to have 40 feet all around the impound lot, or the area that we're gonna have, which we already have it in there. And it's gonna be fenced, and there's gonna be cypress tree planted to, again, to keep the environment so that it doesn't show anywhere. And also there's a property next to us, which is Betty Fuller, and we're gonna keep that 40 feet there, and it's full of trees right there, mature tree, full-size tree, so that nothing shows from the street at all. Sorry if I switched. It's my first time talking in front of people, so sorry about that.
You did fine.
Mine too, so I'm not gonna hold it against you.
There's always a first, I guess.
Are there any questions from the commission to the applicant?
And I know that I think the committee had kind of denied it. We have replied back with some of the, addressing some of the concern that they have on the form, and that's one of the last packet that you have, that we've replied to them, and, to make sure that we address, because we want to make sure that everything is in line with the county, because even when I bought this property, the shop that's there was actually built without a building permit. And when I bought it, the person that sold it to me used to work for the county. And I had to go through the whole zoning survey. They had to come and send an inspector. I had to go through electrical because electricity was not done right. Nothing was done right. So we brought everything back to code to make sure that everything is, in line with what needs to be. We want to make sure that everything is appropriate and not disturbing any neighbors.
So have you owned the business, you've owned the American Record business, you say 2 years?
Yep.
And was it at this location previously?
So American Record used to be there many years ago. Brian Ridgeby, that used to own the company, used to own that lot. And then he moved it. It was not a commercial lot at that point. He moved it, his impound lot was over where Hardy Chevrolet is. And then he moved it, he moved it after that over where Myers in Aram is. That's where we got our impound. But the problem is we can't get them to, they don't want to sign any lease. So if they decide to say, then we're done.
So you're not currently impounding or running a business out of this piece
No.
at the moment?
No. The only thing I've got my truck parked there, but we're not running the business there. The garage itself is going to be mainly for the maintenance of the actual vehicle, oil change, tire, whatever we need to do, minor repair like that. And that's it. No, we don't do the business there yet.
Yeah, I travel that road every day, and I've seen the roll-offs there, the rollback
Yeah.
tow trucks there for a while here.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Robinson, question for you. Does this meet the, land use, future land use, or?
When we looked at this, we always on rezones and, requested land use changes, we look at not just the future development map, comprehensive plan, but the supporting policy maps. We also look at the standards as changing conditions in the area and such. This is actually in a conservation area. It stretches, this is probably one of the most eastern sewer available or anything. As far as changing conditions in that area, there's been 2 commercial rezonings, so I think you
Yeah.
know that's happened. That's been quite a while ago, and the prior use of the track many, many years ago, that it might have been a towing business, that ceased to exist as a non-conforming use.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that answers your question, but it would not meet the current comprehensive plan
That's
supporting
that one.
policy maps.
Okay, it doesn't, okay. Well, you have a recommendation for denial, so that's
That's
what I was asking. That's all I have.
For those, because I noticed in the application, where it was referenced to those other 2 parcels, so I looked those up. One of those looked like it was landlocked, you know, probably on the backside of somebody's property. Maybe they were gonna have a cabinet shop or something at one point. And, as Mr. Steele, I've been up and down that road a few times myself, but I don't know that there's an active business. Is there an active business in that other parcel right there off of Paul Aiken?
The one parcel is Paul Aiken, I believe there's an active business there, that is zoned, it was zoned, most of those 2, I believe they were in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, the one on Paul Aiken they're talking about, that's a roofing company that's got there, and it was a tow truck company that was there also, that we haven't seen in the last month, I think, that it says he moved it out. I don't know if the original owner.
Is there a dwelling, does someone live on this property?
Yeah,
Yourself or?
my son lives there in the double
I mean,
wide.
I've seen that, yeah, I've seen the house there for a long time, so.
Yeah.
How many, tow trucks do you,
So right now, we've got 5 tow truck total, but there's one of them that's on, at my house. I've got another property in the back on, Old Matthew. And then I've got, one of the other driver is in, Iram, but he's got that at his house. And then we've got one right now that the last one that we're actually upgrading, that we're fixing. Yeah, but those are done, they're not brought into the impound, they're just done from point A to point B.
so how many impounds do you, have per month?
So right now, over the last, 2 years, we had 230 impound vehicle total.
So how
These are
many-
accident.
So how many is there now?
Oh, right now, might be, in Ireland, there might be about 12 cars now. It's just, it comes and goes, right? So 1 week, and when we're like, in 2 weeks, we're gonna be in Paulding County, we may get 15, 20 cars, and then the next week after, they're gone, because they're accidents. So the insurance come back, pick them up, and get them fixed. The one that we get stuck with, that stays a little bit longer, is the abandoned vehicle.
So what percentage would those abandoned vehicles be?
About 2 or 3, it's not that high. We get about 4 or 5 cars a month that are abandoned.
Are those, collision cars, or are they just cars that you just picked up for another reason? Could be either one.
It's bizarre what people abandon sometime, but sometime an abandoned vehicle could also see someone that's got picked up and jailed. And then they're stuck in there, and after 30 days, it becomes, we've gotta go through the process to get them to the court system to get the title and get the vehicle out of the way.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of issues with that, so other places in the county about these abandoned vehicles, folks don't wanna go through the process to get rid of them, and they just get collected up and become an eyesore. We've got one down in South Paulding, near where I live now, and they just want, some reason they just sit there for years sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think there's one vehicle that right now it's on hold by the police, the Paulding County Police, because it's a larceny. So that one is in the back of the yard. We can't touch it. We can't do nothing with it. And right now, we're actually in contact with the Paulding and say, hey, we need to transfer it to your impound because we can't do nothing with it because it's an larceny. All the other one, normally the rotation within the 30 to 60 days, they're gone. Because anyway, by code, we're not supposed to keep it longer than a certain amount of time by Paulding County code also.
And you had mentioned a fence, an opaque fence, how high are you proposing?
So right now, we're planning on 6 with a chain link fence with what they call it, the plastic things in there, so to prevent from seeing. and we have a cypress that we're planting. We already have some cypress plant in front of the street that you could see on the pictures, but we're planning on doing that all the way around.
Do you currently own the track 1, do you also own track 2, the 12-acre track to the south?
So I'm not sure, which,
Yeah, on the survey, what you're asking.
oh, and the bottom, yeah, I own the bottom property at the bottom there, that's connected to, Old Matthews.
Okay, do you see your business growing or expanding to where you might need more space in the future?
No, because currently what we lease over there is about 3/4 of an acre for the impound, and it's way oversized for what we need, because more space you get, more stuff you accumulate. We don't want more stuff. We want to have stuff that has to move out of there.
Has anybody got any additional questions or comments from the commission to the applicant? You can have a seat, and then we'll, at this time, ask if there's any opposition or questions for this application. If you don't mind, please make your way to the podium, sign in, and state your name.
All right. My name's Darrell Long. I reside, I'm the second closest house to Mr. JJ's property. We're good friends. We became good friends over a couple of years since he owned this property. Don't have anything against him, but I'll be 65 in May, and that is my last home I'll ever own, right there within 100 yards of where he's talking about taking place at. I'm not trying to knock him out of this, but I just want to be heard, I guess you'd say. Almost the better part of the 2 years he's on that, there has been a business being ran out there. I'm sorry, but y'all have been making money with records in and out of that property.
No, there was a record, that's for sure. There's a record on
There's been 2 or 3 records in and out of there. And, but the garage right there is an eyesore. There's junk cars, everything else out there. I'm not down on him because it was like that when he purchased the place. But that's just part of it. It's an eyesore, and it's probably going to get worse. Where he has explained where the tow-in yard is going to be, it is on a lower level of property. But we're talking about wrecked tow-in cars. They're going to be losing antifreeze, oil, grease, rear end fluid, and it's going to go on the ground on his property. That's his deal. But there's going to be a lot of noise with the backup camera, backup sound, sirens on the rollbacks, all hours of the night, because they're towing them in all hours of the night. I got my grandbabies over there at the house about half the time of the week, and it's not fair for them to do that. I would think, I know I'm jumping around, but I'm old school. I work hard every day, and I'm not good at this stuff. But I would think in this county, there is a much better place. That if you stop and look at from Buchanan Highway to McDonald's, which is all the way down Scoggins Road, there's only like 1 or 2 commercial thing, and that was one, the tow-in place that's next to him. But that is a residential street right there. Everybody that's been there has been there for a while. That's what they're used to being, not looking at a big fence all the time. Don't know if I got it all covered, but I just want to be heard. I'm not trying to knock him out of it, but if he gets approved on this right now, what happens in 6 months or a year when his business is kicking butt and he needs more room? We're going to be up here again trying to get some more property expanded, more oil, grease, antifreeze, car parts, rats, all this bad stuff that's coming in these towing cars is going to be on that property. Don't know if I got it all covered or not, but I just wanted to let me be heard that I'm not crazy about it. I don't want to shoot him out of it. I would, if it goes through, then I would maybe come up with a stipulation that it cannot be expanded again anytime in the future. If he's got plans on expanding anymore, then go find another piece of property somewhere that's more presentable than right there on a residential street where everybody's having to live and go by. You cannot go down that road without seeing that stuff in that yard. I guess I'm done. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Question for Mr. Robinson. Was their previous owner or current owner operating a business? Was there any business license or any business shown on that parcel being?
We did, as part of our review and analysis, we did go back and look to see if there's any previous business license, and we did not have one in the last several. There might have been something operating there, but it's not a current or most recent business license.
But this didn't come about from someone running a business and
So there used to be a business there, that was not legal, that was done by the previous owner.
but not currently.
There's no current
No.
complaints or issues back to the market.
And I do understand.
Well, if you don't mind, we're gonna go through the remainder of the opposition, and we'll have you an opportunity to come back up
Okay,
and
no problem.
address comments. So, is there any additional opposition to this application that would like to come and speak? Are there any questions? If you have an additional question, then,
Just a quick remark.
well, you'd have to come back up to the.
Yes, sir.
You have to come back up to the
Do
lectern.
I have permission?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The previous owner is my son-in-law and my daughter. Don't hold that against me. You gotta live with him. You raised him. All right. But he was running a business in there that I do not agree with because I don't think he went through all the stuff, but that's nothing to do with me. I'm just an old guy trying to get by. But while he was still owner of the property, I purchased 1 acre from him and it's attached, adjacent to his property. That's why I'm here now. I purchased 1 acre for my son-in-law. And I was gonna cut my driveway through the woods to Scoggins Road. 3 times I got 2 appeals and DOT cut me down 3 different times for a driveway exiting on to Scoggins Road because they had to have 500-foot eyesight vision. He's talking about widening up his driveway up there. Well, it's right there in the curb, right there in front of the old tow-in business. And, you know, we're gonna be okay with running records in and out of that driveway right there in the curb. But yeah, I couldn't get access for my home. Anyway, that's it. I know that's not that important, but I just had to put it out there. But we're talking about another factor of widening the driveway to bring the rollbacks in there. I'm done.
I will address that one particular one. If, again, staff does have a recommendation of denial, but out of one of the 3 listed stipulations, similar to the other applications that we have, would be, the owner applicant must agree access, if it gets a favorable vote to move forward. It would have an owner applicant agrees access to the development would go through that same plan review process, for them to make sure that they have met all of the necessary requirements for site visibility and things of that nature from that regard. Are there any additional comments, questions, concerns, or opposition? Hearing none. So again, we'll bring the applicant back up to the lectern.
So I do understand what Mr. Long is talking about, and, you know, our goal is to make sure that we minimize the noise. Obviously, yes, there's gonna be some weeks, like I said, 1 week every month for the Paulding County that we're gonna have some tow truck that's gonna come. We don't know what time of the day, what time of the night, but we're trying to minimize and make sure that there's plenty of vegetation and trees and everything to cut down the visibility and the noise. So, because we want to make sure that things are done right. And, you know, my goal has always been that, you know, we had, me and Mr. Long had an issue at one point with an easement that wasn't done right, and then I worked with him to try to minimize. Yes, it did, it was expensive on him, on this side, but we were able to achieve an agreement that I think pleased both of us.
Okay.
So, that's our goal. Our goal is, my goal and my son's business goal is always to make sure that we comply with every regulation that we have to comply with, that make sure that everything is nice and clean.
Thank you, sir. So as stated, the staff has recommended a denial. However, if the Board of Commissioners chooses to approve this application, there were 3 listed stipulations. You've had an opportunity to review all 3 listed stipulations, and you're in agreement to all 3?
Yep.
All right, at this time, if we have no additional comments from the public, we do have a staff recommendation of denial for the application. So I will ask for a motion.
Make a motion of denial for 2025-22Z and a denial for 2025-09 as -SUP.
All right, I have two motions of denial for said applications. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Callahan. All those in favor? Passes 4-0 and 1 for the recommendation of denial. All right, Mr. Robinson.
Okay, had 2 things. These applications will be, your recommendations forward to the next Board of Commissioner meeting. It's on November 11th, 2025 at 2 p.m. back in this room. Steve be present. And November's a little different next month, but we do have a planning commission meeting. It will be on November the 18th, a week early. That would be back here at 2 p.m. So, you know, it's in the holidays and travel, and so check your calendars, but we will be there.
Well, if there's no further business, I would like to again express appreciation for everybody that came out, everybody that had an opportunity to speak, took the opportunity. Also, thank you for your patience as we were working through a couple of technical difficulties and a very, very quick replacement seat chair here. So again, thank you for your grace in that. At this particular point, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Steele. All those in favor? Motion passes.